Hello everyone who regrets past decisions because you weren't paying attention. I am BorderWise, and welcome back to From the Depths. And more specifically, another retrofit. We are retrofitting our friend the Snowboarder, air superiority fighter, being used in Steel Sovereigns. And you might notice we have a special guest today. We have Sooty very slowly rotating at the top of the screen, and that is because I stupidly left my webcam on, pointing straight at the most boring grey curtains you could possibly imagine. And so don't mind them. They're just gonna sit up here while we make our jet fighter way more strong. So just don't worry about it. Just Sooty is looking straight at you. Sooty does not blink. It's all good, okay? Like, don't worry about it. So let's talk about this jet fighter, the Snowboarder. For anyone who has not been following the Steel Sovereigns playthrough, and if you haven't been, shame on you, it's darn good. And the Snowboarder is something I mentioned last time when we were retrofitting the Icicle. Damn good jet fighter. Darn good, does what it's supposed to be doing. It establishes air superiority in a manner most satisfactory. But it is also the fast response unit just because it's the fastest craft I have. And it is firepower was lacking against larger turrets, against larger targets, such as larger airships or just ships in general, or even against bombers which are just kind of more armor-plated. The little heat shells and the little incendiary missiles it was carrying wasn't quite doing the trick. So we are upgunning the hell out of this thing now to be able to not only establish complete air superiority, but also to put a serious dent into anything else and be a legitimate threat to pretty much anything that could possibly be a problem. So, I wasn't expecting this to be like the final version of the Snowboarder. Like, I was floating a few ideas around. I thought about, like, you know, let's have like different mixed squadrons, so like each plane in the squadron has a different weapon, and that would be kind of cool. I've never really done that before, but being perpetually strapped for time and lazy as I tend to be, I instead decided to go let's start with going complete and utter overkill here. Let's make a proper fighter bomber, or rather, I don't know, more a fighter than anything else, and just go absolutely ham on it. And the wing shape I'm going for this is not the most aesthetic of builds. I just want to warn you straight up. My builds are hardly ever focusing on aesthetics. Aesthetics are kind of a token thing for me, really. But this thing is all about jamming as much stuff into it as physically possible and making it good against, well, like I said, both air and ground targets. Primarily small ones, but also larger ones as well. And to do that, it's everything bigger. So these jet engines we're running on here are a lot bigger than the old ones, and there's a very specific reason for that. They're going to have a generator, and they're going to power lasers. Yes, we are duct taping lasers onto this thing, because if you want to make the sky your very own, and you're dealing with small, annoying things left, right, and center that are hard to hit with any kind of projectile, you gotta get a hit scan weapon. You gotta get one of them laser things. And laser jet fighters are actually really feasible and very useful in From the Depths, simply because custom jet generators are just so powerful and efficient and easy to make. You just plug them into a massive custom jet that you already have, and away you go. You can actually power quite a strong laser. In fact, one of these days I'm going to make an airship that is powering the most ridiculous of lasers, just with the custom jets that also keep it up in the sky. So that synergizes extremely well. Armoring this thing doesn't have armor. The Snowboarder never really relied on armor anyway, and so we're gonna have them custom jets right there. We're gonna have a honking big laser system. This laser actually ends up being pretty powerful. And there's just applique slopes on the bottom just so it doesn't die immediately if something sneezes at it, but this is not something that should be used against anything that can hit it. If the enemy has lasers, this is absolutely a craft that should stay back and not be in that fight at all, really, as small planes like this tend to be. This isn't even that small anymore. It's quite a brute, actually. It's less F-15 and more, what was it, MiG-25, the Foxbat? That thing that was made out of nickel steel alloy and, like, was made to shut down the YB-70 Valkyrie, which never got built anyway. So, anyway, like, I'm fuzzy on my Cold War aviation history, alright? But the point is, this thing is a brute. This is a yee-haw extreme sports kind of fighter who just wants to jam as much DAKKA into one place as it can possibly fit. So, yeah. This thing is not subtle. This thing just is like... This is just... The wings are weapons. The weapons are the wings. The wings are the weapons, so to speak. How does this thing fly? I don't know. If you have custom jets that big, you can fly just because you can tell gravity to shut up and sit down. So anyway, so planes. If I was going to do this differently, how would I do it? Well, this thing needs to be campaign tested. And by the way, I don't get around to like sticking rubber on this, because you do need to stick rubber on these planes in case they collide with each other. I do need to turn collision avoidance back on, I do have to say, because otherwise these things are going to fly into enemy planes and each other. Mostly enemy planes. And as funny as that is... this is now, as you might guess, considerably more expensive than it used to be, and so we don't actually want that. And APS and laser components and custom jets, they don't survive being crashed into very well, unfortunately, so I am going to have to remember to do that. As you can see, Sooty is taking great interest in proceedings. They're now rotated almost 90 degrees. Don't even worry about it. So, yeah. On a note about planes and From the Depths, like, there is actually a niche for them, it's just that niche vanishes. They're good early game craft, which, to be fair, is what I've been using the Snowboarder as, like, in the Steel Sovereigns. It's just, you want something that is small and fast and evasive, something that is just hard to hit with any kind of shell or missiles or anything like that, and can cover ground quickly, and just, they're great for fast response, and they're more efficient than airships, because... Their forward thrust can be configured to also control their altitude and their pitch and their roll. Like, seriously, if you have not made a breadboard thrust vector a plane yet, you should. It's a very good idea. It is an extraordinarily good idea, and whoever told me how to do that was an absolute genius, and I love them. So, yeah. Ducts just there, just because ducts are good. I do anticipate this thing getting hit in the front a lot. So there is that as well, and of course, I don't know why I ever struggled to put detection on planes before. It's like, you know, you put them on the tips of the wings, you just a bunch of trackers, and you should be all good to go. And honestly, I now don't want to make any plane that doesn't have a laser on it, simply because it's so good. I love lasers these days. I hate it when they shoot at me, of course, but yeah, it's just, one too many hours spent watching cram cannons uselessly shoot at things they can't possibly hit has made me appreciate lasers a lot. More so than particle cannons, because particle cannons are expensive and annoying, and lasers go bzzzt in a fashion that is quite reliable. I find lasers more reliable than particle cannons, if that makes sense. Some people might argue that I'm building them wrong, and you're probably right. I still need to build up like a full armed with nothing but particle cannons craft, but the trick there is to get it to punch above its weight, because PAC is actually pretty bad at that. Now we do the missiles. The missiles, they need to be tweaked. Small missiles, I'm beginning to be a little bit of a disbeliever in their use at all, even as interceptors, simply because you need a lot of them to put a dent into larger missiles, and they're laggy as hell, because they spawn in so many extra objects for the game to process. And that is annoying. That's why in the custom campaign that we're building, Plutono, there is a limit of like 10 small gantries per craft in an attempt to lower the chance that things absolutely lag to hell. Okay. And this, I don't know, I don't think this plane ends up being pretty. I'm thinking about like the next time Rawston does a roast of submitting this thing, he's probably gonna look at it and go like, ew, yuck, what were you thinking? What were you thinking? And the answer is I wasn't. I was just going. Going, gone. So this thing has a lot of missiles, as you do. as you do, of course you have lots of missiles, and I experiment with wedges, and you know what, if you're gonna have wedges, you might as well have the big wedges. My goodness, that is a plane with a lot of stuff on it. That's like, I don't know what to compare this to. There's no plane in the world that looks like this, that just has all its DAKKA so naked and exposed. Look at that exposed laser stuff. So naked. Will YouTube demonetize this video because of the naked lasers? Hang on, I'm tempted to Google naked laser, but you know what? I don't want to. That could be bad. That could be extraordinarily bad. It could be the worst, actually. Boy. So, of course, we need to expand the ammo compartment. That is the one thing I knew ahead of time that I absolutely had to do, and put some heavy armor poles around it as a token defense against any heat shells that might happen to it. Because heat is a fact of life. And the heat death of the universe is a fact of life, even though that could be, I don't know, that we could also suffer the big rip or the big crunch, depending on which particular scientific theory is correct. I'm not sure how we got onto that particular topic, but we did! Let's talk about jet fighters instead. Say down in the comments what your... Comics? Say down in the comments what your favorite jet fighter is. I do have to say the Saab Draken is probably one of my favorites, because, I don't know, it just looks cool. But yeah, this thing is like, I don't know, looks nothing like the Saab. But that whole thing of just, I don't know, essentially just being a big wing, being a big, like, diamond-shaped wing, I like that. I like that a lot. Nice and wide, lots of room for fun and activities. And once again, I have kind of impressed myself. It is neat if you just sit down and focus and just hammer out an hour of building from the depths, you can actually get a lot of stuff done, as it turns out. Again, it helps if you have a plan. Helps if you completely replace the wings, too. Okay, then. So now we're just putting some more bits around. Just, you know, all the bits. The bits should help. The bits are better than nothing. Yeah, that's not the prettiest plane. Like, definitely not the prettiest plane. There are people out there who build, like, really beautiful planes, and they would probably hate this and say that I should get my From the Depths license revoked. Did you know that's a thing? It's a thing. Except it isn't a thing. I just lied to you. I just lied to you completely. Because apparently that's what I do on these things. I lie. Did you know that Sabot Flak is the best APS shell? That was another lie. That is literally the worst APS shell. In fact, I hardly ever use flak, or I guess anti-munition warheads anymore, because my goodness, they're just not helpful. They're just not helpful at all. It's just easier to get a nice kinetic CWIS in, something with a nice heavy head or armor-piercing head, and just tears through missiles like no one's business. Does so much more damage. Shame. It's a shame! How to do flak in this game without making it overpowered? That is the question. To be or not to be, or to flak or not to flak. How to flak? Why to flak? And this is, of course, me testing to see if everything is working. And that's now I'm going to try and hunt around and see where the missiles have actually gone. They haven't gone anywhere, because I've forgotten an important thing on those missiles. And now we need to trim the lasers a little bit. Have a nice, to be, well, I don't know, nice and accurate, hopefully. But also, so they can actually have a decent angle of fire. That's important. When you do your laser thing, make sure it works properly. Also, the great thing about driving like crazy at over 160 meters per second is that, well, you can be as unarmored as you like, it doesn't matter. So this is me chucking our friend here. It's about 90k materials against a full squadron of flying squirrels. And this is me thinking, like, you know what, we might as well just make everything do laser targeting. It does mix the shells horribly inaccurate, but they were horribly inaccurate to begin with, so I don't particularly mind. And this is where I remember that you gotta do things, messing with the missiles a bit. The prefab missile I have here is called the... It's called the AA Barbecue Missile. It's one of the better anti-aircraft missiles I've ever made from the depths. It's just, I don't know, it's not amazing. It just can reliably hit a flying squirrel, and that's really good, actually. And I think I missed the point where, like, we were customizing the shells. Actually, no, we haven't. So what we end up with is AP heat and hash heat, because those are best of all worlds for doing terrible things to armor. Hash, because we are going to run into a lot of stuff with heavy armor and heavy armor beams and that kind of thing. So I do want to do that. Say I do. And doing some EMP, and the whole gantry thing is kind of weird, so that's how we do things. And I end up not going with EMP missiles, even though they would be a good idea, simply because their EMP payload is so low that you might as well just blow them up instead. And here we're testing against an albacore, because this is one of the main things I wanted this particular craft to be capable of, is being a threat to airships. Really important that we do that. It's not doing a hell of a lot of damage, I have to say, but no, it doesn't have to. The missiles are doing missile things. Whee. And the great thing about just spraying heat shells at something is that eventually, if you spray enough of them, they are going to go somewhere that's going to do some damage. I'm looking at the damage numbers in the top right. They're not doing super great. Never mind, that did absolutely excellently because it managed to do something. That's the great thing about heat and hash. It does absolutely nothing until it does. And this is me remembering, you know what's a good idea? What's a good idea is fuel. This is one of the least armored craft I've ever made, and honestly, I'm kind of down for that. I think it's cool. It's certainly making a mess of an albacore. Whee! Da-da-da, da-da-da. All that rate of fire is really just to ensure that something hits. Whee! Given enough time, it probably would kill this thing, but I think the test is satisfactory enough. It sets things on fire. It shoots things, it blows things to pieces with hash and heat. Actually, we haven't added the hash shells yet. Whoops, spoilers. Okay, what's Sooty doing? Sooty is that angle. Like, I might have accidentally done a creepypasta here, because I'm looking at Sooty every occasion. Every time I look away and look back after a while, Sooty has moved, but not much. If Sooty is moving, it's very slowly. It's one full rotation per half hour. One full rotation per video. Have you been seeing it? I hope you have, because Sooty's been seeing you. Okay, I promise never to do that again. If I can possibly help it. This is why you don't record when you're sleep deprived, people. You wouldn't drive a car while running on no sleep. You shouldn't record either, because otherwise you do things like leave the webcam on, and that's bad. Alright, so this is where we're experimenting with the shell types, because I have recently realized that hash is good again. There are specific situations where hash is just really, really helpful, and it has absolutely nothing to do with seeing how the Pyre got absolutely clobbered by big hash shells. Big hash shells, mind you. Okay, so this is now the point where we need to think about... things, where we need to think about making it pretty, because that's important. There is unfortunately a fair amount of decoration cope that has to happen here, because otherwise it would be too sad to witness. Too sad to witness at all. It would make me cry. And if it makes me cry, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, it would make somebody else cry as well. If I cry, you cry, we all cry together. If I cry, it means someone else is crying. If someone else is crying, it might mean I'm not crying. So I guess that means I'm a bad person. I don't know. I'm just rambling at this point. Alright, so now, the Eerie test. The reason I wanted to test this is because the Eerie is a tough cookie. Is a very tough cookie indeed. And the idea is just to see if we can put any kind of dent on her. This is like so far out of the snowboarder's weight class, it's not even funny. But I believe we managed to pop one of the AA guns, just because heat and hash is amazing. Zap zap. Oh, I think that. Or maybe it shot itself in the head. I don't know. It happened too fast. But yeah, making a jet fighter that can reliably put some kind of a dent on the Erie, that's pretty good, honestly. And you can imagine a pair of these things would do a real number on the Erie, because they'd flank her and get behind her and like put missiles straight up the backside, which is bad. And fire intensity all there. I am quite fond of little kinetic missiles, because they're just like, I don't know, they just repeatedly punch things in the head. Whee! Also, they drain lambs a little bit better than what they did before. Hopefully this version of the snowboarder doesn't, well, yeah, look at this. Like, sometimes you just... Either the Erie is being tricked into shooting itself, or just the damage numbers are lying. Alright, so... You see blocks falling off, reliably, not super reliably, but she's definitely putting more of a dent into the Erie than the old snowboard ever did. So now comes the test. Now comes the test. Really should have spawned in the squadron, not sure what I was doing. Alright, so this combat test is just to see, like, alright, who wins, or is it a stalemate? The answer is, well, you'll see, won't you? So, it turns out I've managed to make a jet fighter, like both the original kind of snowboarder and the new one, that are kind of like, they're pretty actually hard to hit, so they have trouble even hitting each other at all. And all this combat test is really established is that I need to tweak the lasers, because the lasers need a lot of tweaking. And I am noticing that I don't know, they can't really damage each other. I think if I let it go long enough, the lasers would win out. But yeah, they're not really hitting each other with the missiles, because, like, I don't know, both the old and new version drives like crazy. And this is a dogfight in the extreme, so I just decided, you know what? I'm gonna have to hop into the designer, tweak the lasers so they don't hold charge below 100% energy. That is something I do with 4Q lasers a lot, but in this case I don't really need to do it. It does also mean that I should probably tweak that so it's not using up too much power. We only have 5,000 engine power, and these lasers actually need more than that because they have slightly too many pumps. So all I need to do is replace one of the pump sections with another storage section, and we'll be all good. And at this point, I cannot stand looking at this anymore, and so we simply must decorate. Honey, the Feng Shui... I know it's pronounced Feng Shui, but Feng Shui is dumb, so I will call it Feng Shui. The Feng Shui of this plane is not good enough. It needs to be better. So now, prepare yourself for lots of decoration, and I just want to shout out Hawkins for making a really good decoration tutorial that helped me tremendously. You see them arrows on the deco? You can literally just do that, and it just makes life so much easier. It's not even funny. It is actually pretty funny. How did we live? How did we live without deco? How did we live without decoration? Seriously, how did we live? I don't think we did. I think we just had to suffer and had to resign ourselves to the fact that sometimes our craft could not be pretty and effective at the same time. Oh boy. So yeah, how to do this? How to do this? I love thrust vector planes. It's so useful. Makes all the difference. Makes all the difference. It's beautiful. You're beautiful, it's true. Well, this plane's not that beautiful. It's already immensely improved just by covering up all the exposed components. But yeah, like, I don't think any real-life plane is this chunky, especially on the wings. Chunky, chunky girl. Chunky. Chunky girl, chunky boy, chunky plane. The secret 5th or 7th gender is aeroplane. That was a stupid joke, and I think everyone hated it. I hated it, so I do apologize. Okay, so now same thing over here. You might be wondering why I'm not putting in a nice cone in there. Well, be patient. We're going to get to the cones. It's just like an ice cream treat. You must wait for the cones to happen. You must... I don't know. It's like starting construction on a road. The cones need to be put down. You must wait for the cones to be put down before you decorate your jet fighter, I guess. Except in this case, the cones are the jet fighter. Can you tell I'm a little bit loopy? I'm a little bit loopy today. I'm high on life and caffeine and roguelikes. By the way, do check out... if you don't wander over to Twitch, or if you haven't checked out the BorderRRR channel, or the R channel, treat yourself, because them streams are fun. We have a good time over there. And, I slowly lose my sanity throughout all of them, because, you know, that's streaming for you. When you're in streaming brain, I don't know, you are running at full capacity, brain overheats, steam leaks out of ears, and you say weird things. I will give you an example of a weird thing, but banana. That's my reasoning. Banana. No, that was not a Minions joke. You're not allowed. I have not seen the Minions. I know nothing of them. What's a Minion? I don't know anything about Minions. Do you? You do, don't you? Why won't you tell me about the Minions? Why won't you tell me? Why must you keep secrets from me? Okay, I think I've lost my brain. And my mind. My mind was in my brain, and now it's gone. I'm just looking at this jet fighter and, like, occasionally glancing at Sooty and thinking, like, when did Sooty move? It's like one of those paintings that, like, the eyes follow you around the room, except every time you look away from the painting, it moves. I've never been so frightened of Sooty right now. I've never been more scared and alone, but also really hot, because that's another reason that I'm not 100% brain today, because it's summer down here in beautiful Aotearoa, New Zealand. It's gotten hot really suddenly. It was like 1st of December, it's like the weather looked at the time and was like, oh no, it's supposed to be summer now. Don't worry, I got you, fam. And then the thermostat got cranked up. And now I am sticky. I am sticky and I do not like it. I do not want green eggs and ham. I do not want stickiness on my ham. Sticky ham would be pretty gross, unless... Hold on, what's that thing that people do with the... Oh, hey, combat testing. We're fighting falcons. Hell yeah. So we got tickled a little bit, but it's okay. Whee! Once we're in full... Yep, that'll do it. Wow, faster, more maneuverable, 3-on-1, and we are kicking ass, by the looks of it. I think by sheer coincidence, like, just making this thing really flat has really helped. Zap, zap, zap. Yep, that has definitely helped. That has definitely helped. That was pretty damn good. Like, still can do the air superiority thing. Unfortunately, no way to detect things below the waterline, so probably also need to do some fine little tweaks before we get stuck back into Steel Sovereigns, and making sure that this thing is fully ready to go. I do like the way this has ended up. The snowboarder doesn't look like a snowboard, I do have to say, but you know what, that's okay. Snowboarder does not look like a snowboard. I don't know why I just repeated myself. So anyway, yeah, there we go. We're done. And yeah, that's the new snowboarder. I think we're gonna roll with it. If we can fight like a squadron of the old ones to a stalemate, I reckon we're good to go. I reckon we're doing well here. I reckon things are good. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Pardon again Sooty's face censoring grey boring curtains. That was my bad. Won't happen again. Sorry if Sooty has given you weird dreams or made you think about eating plastic. And yeah, so my bad. So thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Support me on Patreon or YouTube membership if you like. It really helps, and there's fun perks in it for you. Like a Discord server for patrons, $1 a month. You get access to a Discord server, and to hang out with me and other fine people. And hopefully I'm more functional when you meet me in there. Also check out Twitch and the other channels, the RTS RPG roguelike channel and the art channel. All of those are good. You should come say hi. And I'll see you next time in From the Depths. Farewell.